Hello there, everyone. My name is Hayley, and I'm the partner manager at Easy Agile. At Easy Agile, we make Agile apps for Atlassian's Jira. But more about Easy Agile soon. In this session, I want to talk to you about the necessity for diversity in our organizations. When many of us look around our organizations today, particularly in the tech industry, diversity is lacking. So what can we do to attract and retain a more varied workforce that better represents our customers and our community? In this talk, I will cover the stats and figures around diversity in our industry, why diversity is so important for creativity and innovation, particularly in the tech space, and the tips for creating a more inclusive workplace. Before I start though, I wanted to say an acknowledgement of country in the spirit of reconciliation. Easy Agile would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land from which we broadcast to you today, the people of the Darua speaking country. We pay our respects to the elders past, present, and emerging, and extend the same respects to any Aboriginal, Torres Strait Islander, or First Nations people on the call today. So now for a bit about Easy Agile. Easy Agile is a relatively new company started by two Atlassian alumni in 2015 and is located here in beautiful Wollongong, Australia. We're about an hour south of Sydney. Easy Agile exports to over 50 countries around the world, and our apps are used by over 150,000 people every month. And that's people in over 2,000 companies. Some of our clients include Amazon, Adobe, Mercedes, and Bloomberg, just to name a few. From humble beginnings at a local tech startup here in Wollongong, Easy Agile now has a team of almost 40 people and is continuing to grow. We have 4 products on the Atlassian marketplace, including Easy Agile user story maps, Easy Agile programs, Easy Agile roadmaps, and Easy Agile personas. If you or your team are interested in hearing any more about our products or our company, please reach out to me after this. So now let's dive into diversity and inclusion. We all want to stay relevant to our customers and also get a head start in the competitive recruitment market that we all face today. An inclusive work environment offers organizations the ability to adapt and innovate quickly to the changing needs of the market, respond creatively to hurdles like a pandemic, and secure the best talent more effectively. But how can diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI for short, do all of this? If you look at the stats, diverse workforces are good not only for people and communities, but also the bottom line. Racially and ethnically diverse companies have been shown to be 35% more likely to have financial returns above industry means. And organizations in the top quartile for gender diversity are 15% more likely to have returns above industry means. In addition, more diverse companies are better able to win top talent and improve their customer orientation, employee satisfaction, and decision-making. All of this leads to a virtuous cycle of increasing returns and a healthier bottom line. The facts that I've just mentioned, I'm sure, aren't surprising to any of you. I mean, most people in business know that diversity in the workplace has a net positive impact across a range of measures. After all, companies spend about $8 billion a year collectively on diversity and inclusion training. Now that's too much cash to put towards something that isn't a sure bet. Yet, in some segments such as tech, like the one that I work in, and I'm sure many of you do as well, progress in DEI is moving at a snail's pace. A recent study showed that approximately 68% of business leaders report a lack of diversity in their tech workforces. Now, we understand that diversity is great for people and for business, and how tech isn't too crash hot in this space. But let's take a step back and consider what diversity is in our industry and what are some of the barriers stopping us as we try to create a more diverse workforce. So what is diversity in tech? Diversity in tech is about bringing a myriad of people and voices to a traditionally homogeneous, often non-inclusive industry. But as many of us know, tech isn't historically great at diversity. For example, representation of women and people of colour is particularly low in tech, with Google, for instance, reporting that only 5.5% of their new hires in 2020 were Black or Black and some other ethnic minority, for example, Native American or Latino. With these facts and figures telling the story of a tech industry that isn't fully representing our diverse community, let's take a deep dive into some of the main barriers of entry. Recently, Wiley, the publishing company, released a report titled "The Diversity in Tech." Not only did the report expose the problems around diversity in tech and some of the losses that tech is facing due to a lack of inclusion of diverse communities, the report also opened up the conversations around barriers into the industry. So what is stopping people from disparate backgrounds and experiences joining our industry? Number one is the lack of education and encouragement to tech in kids and young adults. In high schools and colleges, students need to be encouraged to explore different careers in STEM, or science, technology, engineering, and maths. If we look at high school, the statistics on the lack of gender diversity in the workplace start to make sense. According to the Wiley report, 47% of male students between the ages of 18 and 28 years old felt that they were encouraged to consider a career in tech or IT when they're in high school. When we look at females, on the other hand, only 39% of those surveyed between 18 and 28 years felt like they had been encouraged to pursue a career in tech or IT. The difference of 8% changes the stats significantly in the future. Outside of gender, though, there is very little difference in the level of encouragement across ethnicities when it comes to encouraging students to think about careers in tech. The second major barrier is the lack of role models in tech for young people, particularly women. Role models, and in schools and universities, our teachers play a very important role in helping a young person decide if they'll pick a career in tech. For those aged 18 to 28 years, the most common reason for pursuing a career in tech was that they were encouraged to do so by a high school teacher. These influences, like teachers and parents, are particularly important for young women looking to STEM as a career path. Our societal stereotypes surrounding our industry describe the quintessential hacker. You know, the pale, sweaty Star Trek fan hacking into a police database from a gadget-filled room that looks more like a computer shop than an office. With this image in mind, we need to ask ourselves, how does an extroverted young woman fit into this idea? The phrase, "you can't be what you can't see," is incredibly relevant to young women, as they are more likely than men to be inspired by high-profile people in the media or role models. And the third barrier I wanted to touch on today as a barrier to diversity in tech is venture funding. Following on from the importance of role models in tech for women, We also need tech role models to represent underrepresented groups. This is, in part, depends on companies being founded and led by people from said groups. Having a look at a recent study conducted by NPO, Black founders have faced significant hurdles when they're trying to break into the technology industry, with only 0.24% of venture capital investments going to Black founders. A staggeringly low figure, considering that Black founders have also been shown to have a higher ROI of about 30%. So, at this point, you might be thinking, what does diversity, inclusion, and equity, or DEI, have to do with project management? You know what this conference is all about. At Easy Agile, we practice Agile project management. This is an iterative approach to managing software development projects that focus on continuous releases and incorporating customer feedback with every iteration. I believe that Agile and DEI really go hand in hand. Agile is a mindset and a way of working that allows people to utilize their unique talents and work in a cross-functional way to deliver value to customers often. This team is also empowered to traverse the hurdles of the market and make decisions quickly. The mechanisms of diversity, inclusion, and equity within the workplace are about creating welcoming spaces for a diverse set of staff, customers, and stakeholders from across our community. DEI is about empowering people to do their job in the best environment that they can. Agile is about the human systems of an organization, or as the Agile Manifesto states back in 2001, individuals and interactions over processes and tools. So, when we think about agility and DEI, both require organizations to consider what a diverse array of people need to succeed with an organization. Both Agile and diversity and inclusion policies require organizations to take a hard look at their working environment to gauge whether it is designed to be inclusive and welcoming, rather than just assuming that these mechanisms exist by default. The Agile frameworks and their underlying pillars and values are mostly accepted ways of working for many tech organizations. But whether we are actually living these values is up for debate, given all the stats we've just heard. For instance, the 3 pillars of Scrum, which are transparency, inspection, and adaptation, and the Scrum team values of commitment, courage, focus, openness, and respect, offer guidance for effective Agile teamwork within a rapid feedback loop. A loop that requires intensive collaboration, communication, and coordination. These values and pillars also offer a guide rope for success in DEI. To inspect and enact our current systems of power and authority, we need transparency in the decisions we make around hiring, promoting, and compensation. Also, how resources, including human, technological, finance, and informational, are allocated. In other words, we need to know what is and isn't working and for whom, so we can actively and intentionally change the attitudes, behaviours, systems, policies, and practices that are barriers to diversity, equity, and inclusion. Engaging in meaningful Agile practices and transformative diversity practices at work is a job for the head and the heart. So now we have covered what is diversity in tech, the importance of diversity, and how DEI and Agile project management go hand in hand. We've also talked a lot about the common barriers stopping diverse communities engaging in the tech industry. Before I finish up though, I wanted to run through a series of things my company, Easy Agile, are doing to overcome the barriers deterring people from entering tech. Each month, we host a group called Women of Easy Agile. With such a persistent lack of gender diversity in the tech industry, our group get together and talk about the challenges and hurdles unique to us. We form a support group for each other and discuss important issues like financial security, pay rises and promotions, and practical advice for a healthy work and life balance. Our leadership team are also invited to attend, along with allies from across our organisation. Having a myriad of voices and listeners is in the room helps to bubble up our pain points to the surface, giving us the opportunity to act on the problems that we have here at work. As we have heard, it's evident from the above-mentioned research that an important element in the journey towards diversity is providing students with more information regarding tech jobs from a much younger age, and ensuring that pupils of every gender, ethnicity, and socio-economic background are given equal opportunities and encouragements to learn about the different technology career paths and qualifications that you need to get there. At Easy Agile, we regularly speak at our local university about the benefits of our industry and the opportunities our industry offers young people. Our team act as role models and mentors for these young university students and share their experiences Our team act as role models and mentors for these young university students and share their experiences generously. And finally, Easy Agile interview new candidates for values, not just experience, as a way to overcome barriers of tech. Organisations like Facebook and Atlassian have moved to interviewing for values. In our Easy Agile interviews value, applicants are evaluated on a specific list of questions that signal behaviours that are successful in our company. This standardises the interview process and works to remove bias. For Easy Agile, this means using structured behavioural interviewing to identify people who want to work openly, with empathy with their customers and colleagues, and who take ownership of making a positive change. Over the last 18 or so minutes, we have covered a wide range of things around diversity, equity, and inclusion. We've covered the stats and figures surrounding diversity and inclusion in our industry, why diversity is particularly important in tech for creativity and innovation, how diversity and agile practice goes hand in hand, and finally, I talked about my experiences at Easy Agile and shared some of our tips for creating a more inclusive workplace. I hope that sparked with you and with your team some creative and innovative opportunities to make your workplace a really welcoming space from people from across our communities. I encourage you to start or continue the discussion at your workplace and look for ways to enhance the diversity, equity, and inclusion of your company. As we all know now, it's better for our people, our community, and our companies. If you have any questions, please reach out to me via LinkedIn, and I really thank you for your time and enjoy the rest of the conference. Thanks so much.